Hello everybody, it's Ben and I'm back once again with another video for you guys. Today I'll be reviewing Uncanny Avengers issues 12 through 14. So the story picks up right after the events of issue 11 and we are treated to a flash forward in the future where we see the Apocalypse twins as they've spent a year in one of the Red Skull's concentration camps. And as a result, they are changed beings in terms of what they see there and what they experience. And at the same time, you have Kang in his inner monologue saying that he has been basically grooming these twins for his own agenda and his own purposes, and at the same time, um, basically just being just a horrible mentor slash father figure to the twins. After all, it was he who plucked them from their respective time stream and brought them to Kang's point of rule in the time stream. There's a really heartbreaking and a really brutal scene where Yulio, who is the boy of the Apocalypse twins, is forced to take his sister Emem's sight after being basically caught by one of the wardens of the concentration camps in a failed escape attempt. And there's a really brutal scene where the guard gives Uriel a ultimatum, basically saying, "You either take her sight or I'll take your life." And unfortunately, Uriel takes his sister's life. Takes her sight, rather. This particular issue is, again, written by Rick Remender and illustrated by Salvador Larroca and coloured by Frank Martin. And at the same time, you have Wanda and Simon basically cooking up their own plan for their own scheme, which currently Wanda is under the employ of the Apocalypse twins under duress, and at the same time, you have basically them trying to come up with their own scheme of how to basically undermine and basically undo the plan that the Apocalypse twins are trying to set in motion. And at the same time, you have a really great conversation which takes place between Simon or Wonder Man and his brother, the Grim Reaper. At the same time, you also have Rick Remender still finding time to basically keep developing the relationships between these characters, especially with Havoc and Wasp. And at the same time, you have Havoc basically battling one of the reincarnated Four Horsemen, who I won't spoil, but I will say that both Dakin and the Grim Reaper are both members of the Four Horsemen. And at the same time, there's also another really endearing scene which takes place between both Simon and Wanda and really defines the relationship between these two characters. And at the same time, you have just Remender just doing some fantastic character work with these two characters. Like I said, building up the relationship between the two, which then leaves off on a really great cliffhanger for the next issue. And that then leads us into issue number 13 with another really cool, probably the better of the two John Cassaday covers, in my opinion, of these three issues that I'm going to review. And at the same time, at the beginning of issue 13 rather, you have Havoc once again continuing his battle with one of the Four Horsemen that's been reincarnated. At the same time, there's more really great development of the relationship between him and Wasp or Janet. And at the same time, you also have some really great, gently laugh out loud humor moments with a temporarily deaf Captain America. There's even a great scene where Wasp or Janet gives Havoc a peck on the cheek, and Steve, in his own mind, is saying she likes you, but unfortunately, because he's deaf, he's shouting it. And Havoc even says to him, "You're yelling, you're yelling, Steve." And yeah, it just makes for some great banter between the characters. At the same time, you also have a really great character-defining scene for Thor, as he is using Mjolnir to basically save a an alien city from being flooded by gamma, it seems, but not so much radiation, but almost like a gamma comprised river almost on this alien world, which he was banished to during the second volume of Uncanny Avengers, towards the end. And you also have another really great conversation which takes place between both Daken and the Apocalypse twins. And unfortunately, poor old Logan, or Wolverine, is basically caught in the middle as he's trussed up on the wall, as Daken is basically just torturing him and tormenting him over the fact that Wolverine, through no fault of his own, really, although Wolverine was forced to kill his own son, even though that the relationship between the two characters has never been great. They've always been at each other's throats, and Daken has always been the polar opposite of his father in some respects, or in most respects actually. And Daken has just been all about the monster and just killing for the sake of it without any real reason, whereas his father is, like I said, the polar opposite of the two. There's also once again some more really great relationship defining moments between Wanda and Simon, as well as with Rogue and Wolverine towards the end of this issue. And there's also a really great cliffhanger which leaves off for the beginning of the next and final issue that I'm going to review, and that is Uncanny Avengers issue number 14, with an absolutely fantastic front cover done by Steve McNiven and Justin Ponsor, who just does an absolutely fantastic job on the colouring. And I'll just let you take a look at that original series cover just there, as I adjust the zoom. There we are. At the same time, at the start of this issue, you have Kang basically recruiting villains from all across the time stream. You have Victor Von Doom from the 2099 universe, or the timeline. You have Arno Stark, who is the Iron Man of 2020, as well as a few others that I'm not going to spoil. But it really just shows you how Kang even says in the Age of Ultron 8 AU tie-in collected in Volume 2 of Uncanny Avengers, the Apocalypse Twins. Kang even says that he's a master of time, and at the same time, during this sequence of Kang basically recruiting all of these villains, you really see that Kang is just able to just hop from time stream to time stream, as I said, basically recruiting various different villains to his cause. At the same time, Steve McNiven, even though this is his introductory issue to the series, his artwork is absolutely fantastic, along with the equally fantastic colouring of Laura Martin and the inking done by John Dell as well, which is once again absolutely fantastic, as you can see from this really great two-page spread of Wanda, who's basically borrowing some of Wonder Man or Simon's power in order to supercharge her abilities to cast this spell for the Apocalypse Twins under duress. But obviously little do they know that Wanda and Simon are cooking up their own schemes to try and basically thwart the Apocalypse Twins' plans. At the same time, there's also some really great action scenes which take place particularly between Rogue and the Grim Reaper. At the same time, she's absorbed Logan's Bone Claw abilities, and she's borrowing Logan's Bone Claws to basically try and combat the Grim Reaper. At the same time, you also have Daken and Wolverine once again going at it, as well as Rogue and the Grim Reaper. Now, there are character deaths in this issue, but I'm not going to spoil who dies and how they die, but I will say it is absolutely brutal how these characters meet their end, and this issue in and of itself is absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to pick up issue 15 this coming Thursday, which issue 15 will be out on December the 18th. And I absolutely cannot wait to pick up my copy of issue 15 on this coming Thursday. As I've said previously, you know, the original series cover by McNiven and Ponso is fantastic, as well as the equally fantastic artwork of Steve McNiven on the interiors, as well as the inking by John Dell and the colouring done by Laura Martin. Rick Remender is still doing an absolutely fantastic and absolutely stellar job with both the writing and the storytelling, as well as the artwork by Salvador Larroca in issue 12 was really good. Once again, fantastic artwork and own inking of Daniel Acuña in issue 13 was again absolutely fantastic. And as I've said multiple times, McNiven's artwork and the colouring by Laura Martin and the inking by John Dell is, once again, as I've said probably too many times now in this video, is absolutely fantastic. And I won't show you any more of the pages, as I've said, purely because there's a lot of spoiler territory towards the end of this issue, and I'm not going to spoil how the issue ends. But I will just show you the original series covers once again. There's issue 14, issue number 13, and issue number 12. And that about concludes this review video, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Didn't like it, thumbs it down. But as I always say, if you thumbs down the video, by all means, please feel free to tell me why in the comments below, or send me a private message. If this is your first time here and you'd like to see more, by all means, please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, this is Gambit896 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.